make new video. We're gonna make a human figure. So just like any form, we're gonna start with the biggest part and we'll make the butt. I'm not gonna go too big. I'm gonna use, this is like a 7 or 8 millimeter, medium sized rod. That'll be my body. And then for my limbs, I will use like a 5 or 6, like a 5 mil, and I'll have a 4 mil handy. So this is like a little on the long end. If you ever have something that's on the long end, you know, you could cut it, or you can kind of use, just because I don't want it to be, you know, banging the table, I'm going to use this as a little bit of leverage to gather up a ball. So if I'm ever trying to make like a big, thick thing, you could always stick a handle on, and that way you're not just gathering with gravity, you're able to shape it and support it with both hands. We're gonna build up. I like to start with the butt base, and then do the legs, and then do the top. Gathering up my little ball here.
Why are you doing it from the middle instead of the end?
The rod was a little long, so I didn't want to do it around the end, and I also wanted to use it, and also want to demonstrate like you can use the end if you need leverage. It doesn't really, it's not necessary here. I could gather this, but if it's thick and I wanted to build up a big thing, or like say I want to make a caterpillar or like a snowman, you can always have your handle or stick a handle on, and then you're not just at the mercy of gravity, but you can support it on both ends, and that can be really
new technique.
New tech, yeah.
Alright.
Good noticing. My main tools for this are tweezers, graphite, and my little knife.
That knife brings me so much joy every time I see it.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, the tip of it got bent because I lent it out. Someone went a little ham on it, but we can fix it.
It looks like an oyster knife.
It was different. It was like a random, it was serrated, and then I had Doug sand it down. Was it a what?
Was it a steak knife?
Yes, I think, yeah, it was a steak knife. Yep.
I thought so.
There you go. Stole it from my parents' kitchen when I was in high school. Okay, so we're gonna build up our butt. We're gonna flatten a little bit. Huh?
It's a butt hump.
Butt hump?
The butt.
The butt. It's gonna be a butt. If you want, you can. If you want your guy to be naked, I like to make a little butt crack, supporting it on my graphite, and just a little. Hey. And then you don't have to do these details, but if you want to make like that, like bikini line or like the pelvis shape, I kind of heat that area, and then I go like like a V. It's very small here. And some of it is just blocking up and giving yourself visual cues, but it's kind of like upside down heart. Let's make ourselves some legs. Size here. I'm going to use this one. I would rather pull down extra material from a thicker rod than build up material from a thinner rod, especially in this type of context. Actually, I'm going to use this. Now, I'm a big fan of the glass bucket instead of the metal, because it cracks it off a lot easier because of the way it vibrates. It doesn't vibrate. If you try to do that, it's not going to come off as nice. That's a nice crack. The downside to doing that, if I want to use this rod, see there's some spider web cracks. If it's like a working rod, like I'm ripping off glass with the 4 mil, I love to do that. I just wanted to show that difference off.
Crazy, man. You use the resin, the straight vibes of the glass.
Straight vibes, yeah.
I noticed that the other day, but their glass got too.
Yeah, that's, if there's some lying around, that's what I definitely prefer personally. It knocks off way nicer.
I think they might have just been like rejects.
Yeah, they're just rejects. Yeah.
Wow, why would you use that?
Yeah, it's nice. And then you can see all your trash.
Maybe
No, really, I like it because this just it doesn't come off as easily. All right, so I'm gonna make my legs here. Use my thick rod that's about the size of the waist, and we'll join it on. And I've got my really small sharp flame, inner flame, so I can make that a hot seal. I'm not gonna pull yet because I don't want it to be too skinny right there. We're gonna build up a little. I'm gonna come out of the flame and stretch it a little.
Give it extra thick thighs.
Yeah, I definitely want to. I don't want it to be too
Thick guys save less.
Yeah.
big too. I'm gonna let that thigh set up. And there's a few ways you can do it. If I want to do something a little more detailed that's bigger, I will terminate here, melt it off, and then I'll add the knee separately. And that allows you to really accentuate the joint. Let's do that just to show it. Because when you're building your body, you want to think about it as far as like the joints coming together. If you want it to have that articulation. So right now it's a little long. Terminate a little bit. And I can use gravity to help me stretch down the thigh, make it into like a taper. What's that?
I said it's my dream thigh. Nice and long.
Nice and long, I know, right? Now I'm going to use my knife or a straight edge to just push it out and make the back. That's going to become like the back of the knee, the back of the leg.
I always call it a knee armpit, but I don't know if it actually has a name. Does anyone know?
The
Like
knee,
the
yeah.
back of the knee
It
has
does have a name, and I knew it 20 years
Oh,
ago
yeah,
when
you
I
know.
was in school. But I can't
Wait,
remember.
what is it, Judy?
popliteal fossa.
Popliteal fossa?
I'll keep calling it a knee
Popliteal
pit.
fossa? Knee pit. I love that. Popliteal.
It's surprising which one.
That's a sick word. All right, now I'm gonna do. I've got that little edge there. Now I'm gonna go and apply the knee from the front. You don't have to do it this fancy. This is like the way I learned from Emilio Santini. A lot of people do it sort of like an Italian way. I'm gonna get this nice and hot. We're gonna come on from the front. It's gonna be like the knee joint. Let it set up a little, and then we can pull.
Is that a hot seal already or not?
It's like really close. So this is an instance where the working rod had a lot of the heat and it was really translating it. This bottom rod was warm.
Right. So it was already.
It's like primed
some
to
of the
go.
work was done for you, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes like I didn't want to heat that so much and lose that connection or the stability. So sometimes you can really translate a lot of the heat from one rod being really hot. There's a little line, and I'm okay with that because that's on the surface. It's a hot seal. It's like that balance between making it too hot and melting it, or making it too hot or making it a cold seal. And so now if you want to do any adjusting, you can do it at the popliteal fossa, the knee pit, the joint, the patella. I know that one. So it's kind of an articulated knee. My proportions could use some work. That's okay. That's the thing about the human form. You recognize, it's like making a perfect circle or a perfect marble. You know when it's not right. You might not know exactly what's going on, but you recognize it. But that might be when you choose to stylize. All right, we're gonna make another leg, and we're just gonna do it sort of like a more simple way. Maybe I need to create a little more separation here.
Why do you like to start with a bigger rod and pull as opposed to a thinner rod and build up?
Yeah, well, I like to start with a thicker rod to pull down as opposed to build up from a smaller rod. It makes it it's like more smooth. It will look a little more smooth, whereas like if I didn't have enough and I had to build it up, you're gonna have like lumps and kind of more blobby shapes. And also, if I'm making this connection here, I want that connection to be thick. I never want my hot seal to be like a small connection. That's why I'm like building it up, more surface area. I'd rather have it be a thick, too blobby connection and then pull it down a little to make it smooth. So I'm not pulling yet. I'm just making that a hot seal. I'm not even worried about that lump because I want that to set up. Now I'm gonna heat that. Oh, it's got a cute chubby thigh. It reminds me of my baby. Chubby thigh. We're gonna heat that, and we'll come out. I'm still gonna like imagine the knee joint there if I want it to be articulated and bent, but I'm just gonna pull down this rod.
You made a little Maria and stuff like that.
Yeah, like a little Maria to accentuate that knee. Yeah, or I can even go in and add a little dot once it's bridged up. Absolutely. You never know what they're doing. For your feet, we're gonna bridge to these, so we don't need to worry too much, but never forget that the foot starts in back. There's like a heel. It's not just like a L 90-degree bend. There's a little bit of glass there, and then a little there. Oh, it's so cute. I don't want you guys to feel like if you were to make this, if you stylize the heck out of this and it's like one long loopy form, that would be freaking cool. That would be artistic and stylized. So, you know, if you want to go for realism, it's all about intentionality, and you could work on that, but kind of abstract stylize is a fun way to start. Like, I don't know if you guys remember last week I showed you in the multiples presentation, Hans Goto Frabel. He made these outdoor installations in a botanical garden that had these really long, like, stick figures. Long fellows.
Yeah.
Alright, now I'm going to bridge here.
It was very stylized.
Very stylized, yeah. Honestly, like, it's like almost minimal shaping. Like, the arms and legs are kind of like long, straight rods.
They look like stick ones.
Yeah, like stick. But they're cool. Like,
Yeah, they are.
I like them. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to make a skateboard so I can do a hot seal there. And the reason I like to do that is because I'd rather my handle, I just want it to be on center whenever I can. It just is, it feels better for me. If it feels better, you'll be able to
So you're bridging?
do better. Am I bridging? Yes, I'm bridging. I like to bridge the legs. I'll let that stay straight, and then we'll get it off the thing. And now since it's bridged up, I can use a little dot and accentuate that knee there. So now I'm gonna do a little compression. Make sure this is honestly, like, making sure it's on center. So helpful, especially right now, because I'm gonna do what I did earlier and build up some glass. I need more mass up here. Few options. You can build up what you have, or you could hot seal on a thicker rod. Up to you. But I'm gathering up some glass to have the more material for the waist. So I'm basically just heating and letting I'm not really pushing, but the heat's letting it gather up.
When you're working boro, like on the, like, that solid, what's the thickest you would go? Like, how big could you
I work?
make
So
a figure, like, out of that solid?
size, it's really up to what you're comfortable with. I mean, they make 25mm rods.
Really?
Yeah.
It's like an inch, right?
Yeah, that's an inch. Yeah, absolutely could do that.
Yeah, like, because I feel like I haven't really seen solid boro that's thicker than
Yeah. So if people are gonna go that big, generally they'll try to blow it because it gets
Yeah.
so heavy.
Right.
But you absolutely could do it. When you're working that big, you know, I would definitely handle up, like use a small section of that thick rod, put a handle on it, and I'd prep it with that rod. I'd garage it in the kiln, put the handle on after making that blank. I put that in a kiln and
Yeah.
I'd anneal it frequently.
Generally, when people are going super thick with boro, they're making big marbles.
Yeah.
Like, huge marbles. Like, I think I've seen like 4-incher.
Okay.
Like, crazy big.
That's crazy. And
So torturous.
Because I've seen
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, and a lot of people will do it on the lathe, too. Like, the guy who I bought my lathe from, all he did on it was make these massive marbles. And, like, you know, he'd try and sell them for $1,000 or whatever, but hard to sell those values.
wow. Yeah, because I've seen really big soft glass marble,
Yeah,
but
same idea, you know?
yeah, but boro, you have to get it so hot.
Yeah, they make those big graphite marble molds. And I've never seen people use them in the hot shop. I guess you could. But I have one. I got this lathe from this guy, and he's like, hey, you want this huge marble mold? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I've taken it into the hot shop a few times, but I suck in the hot shop, so it's something
when I'm doing like big sculptural things like that, I would use the lathe, honestly. Like, and that's why marbles on the lathe exist. But even just to gather it up, or even just to chuck it up to use a Bunsen, so you can rest your hands a little bit, and then like you do some shaping with the hand torch, but it's holding it for you. So that thing could be like a couple pounds, and on the end of the long stick, that's like, I don't know, 30 pounds. It's like, it's crazy how heavy it gets. But it is possible. But there's a reason you don't see it too often, because you might do it in the hot shop, but I'm all for it. Okay, I did add a little dot to make the knee. And now I'm gonna smooth this out. And my guy doesn't have a butt, it has the Hank Hill syndrome. I need to add a little of that booty. So I will. Hump it, some kind of curve. There's like nothing there right now. I wouldn't expect it to be because I didn't add it. So I'm gonna.
Did it melt down? Because when you started with the cheeks, right?
I did, yeah.
Did it melt out?
It did melt out when all the stuff I was doing, and it was so subtle, so small. So yeah, we gotta add a little, and that's totally fine. I'm gonna add a little, I'm gonna spot heat, and I wanna round this out, if I can, to start my connection. Keep that. Little cheek there.
That badon down there?
Get that badon going.
Like that one cute little butt piece.
So cute. Add a little bit more, but like just subtle things like that mimics the curvature or musculature of the human form, and just a little hint of a butt, it starts to look much more passing like a human. Do that again, small flame, small sharp flame. Try not to have them touch, but if they do touch, I can carve it out with my knife. So it's a little smoothing. And it's subtle, but it makes a difference, that butt. Oh, that looks juicy. Okay, and now we're gonna keep adding a little more. He's a little flat. I'm gonna give him slash her a little bit more of a belly, because that's cute. And I just get like my raw, juicy hot and kind of smear it on. Huh?
Body positivity.
No, it's exactly. It is.
Now I'm really nervous about cracking. Can you just like every couple minutes or so just throw on that annealing flame and hit the whole thing for 2-3 minutes?
Whenever
and
you
then
want.
Go right back down.
Whenever you want. Whenever. Yep. And like if I was doing this thick, I would probably do that, especially if I'm jumping around. Now this is hot. I'm working quite hot. I'm not letting it cool down, and I'm not punting in some random spot, which is why you had that problem. But yeah, if you get nervous, that's a great thing to do.
Okay.
I'm smoothing that belly in, and I'm just gonna accentuate a little bit. And the knife is gonna cut a line and maybe kind of give it a little bit of your gut. So if you like that, that's fine. But if you want it to just be smoother, I'm doing a lot just by heating it and letting gravity move it around. Erase that line a little bit so it's subtle. It's just, I don't know, it's like I have a lot of fun with this.
Okay, the belly button.
It's great.
Can use a rake for the belly button.
A rake?
Yeah, you know.
Oh.
Just a little,
You're right, exactly.
Yep.
I don't have that, so I'll just use the bead mandrel here. Spa heat. Oh, it's cute. Ah! Oh my god. I don't know, I think like my mommy instincts, like, I'm
yeah.
like, it's my baby. I just like am projecting maternal energy onto everything right now. So, okay, we're gonna finish this up. If you need to add more glass, if I'm thinking, it needs more material up there, just add it. And the way I do it is I just add it, clump it on or whatever, however you need to, and then heat it to smooth it out into a nice smooth blob, and then shape it. As I'm adding, it doesn't look amazing, it looks kind of lumpy. Like when I smushed that stomach on, it was lumpy. That's just fine, and then I'm gonna smooth it out. So we're gonna add a little bit more material here at the top. If you want to sculpt from life and you want it to be realistic, 100% get your sketchbook, sketch it out first, or trace it out, or print out a photo. I literally, if I'm gonna make something for the first time, I'm not gonna I'm gonna make a shark. Do I know what a shark looks like? I think I have an idea in my mind of what a shark looks like, but if I were to try to make it, where does that one fin go? Actually, how is the shape of the face look? Look at an image and honestly print it out, paste it in your sketchbook, have it on your desk. It's a power move.
You can see how hot every blob she's putting on is. She's getting it so hot, it's falling, it's flipping, and it's falling the other way, and she's flipping again, and it's falling onto her work, and she's like shaping it that way. Like you want your glass to be so hot in the rod you're adding with that it's like, you know, flopping around. The more heat you have built in there, the better your connection is going to be, the less likely you're going to trap an air bubble right there. So just like, I feel like when everyone was showing their work earlier, we just all need to work on putting enough heat in to make sure that we're getting our stuff like really well sealed on there. And just like, you can always go back and heat stuff in, but that first addition, if you have enough heat, it makes your life so much easier.
Absolutely, and I'm working hot, and that's why I'm not worried about this cracking, because like even if I'm working really high here, it's gonna keep that happy, as it were. I added 2 little blobs in pieces as the shoulders, and now I'm gonna go and make that armpit of the armpit. I use something with a straight edge and just lift and separate. But yeah, what Bill's saying is exactly true. I'm working it hot. The working rod, which is the rod that I'm adding stuff to, that's real hot. That's transferring heat. Okay, I'm gonna cut in, give a little clavicle. That thing, right? Clavicle?
Yeah. Yep.
Collarbone clavicle?
Yeah.
Are they synonyms?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm asking my nurse. You're also, or my doctors. Doctors in the house, tell me. My vocab. Just a little suggest it. If you don't like it, heat it to erase it. Okay, I'm gonna create the chest with a medium-sized rod. Man, I was gonna do a really simple stick figure. I'm getting a little more detail. So hopefully this doesn't deter you from wanting to try it, because you don't have to add all the detail. But it's just too fun not to, for me.
It's like, you know, you spend 5 extra minutes on every single part, and you come out with such a different result, you know? Like, the stick figure would have been very similar, you know? It just would have been like, you know, every part was like a little bit less. And like, by doing that extra few details, you can see how much it adds to your kind of
Oh, absolutely. So I added 1 breast here, and it's a little in the middle. And I was heating and rounding it. We're gonna shape it and separate a little bit. And this is like gravity. It's just like so much, if you can like gravity do the shaping that mimics real life. I'm gonna heat it, and right now it's kind of like a random awkward sphere in the middle of the chest. So I'm gonna heat it, let gravity separate from the middle, and come down a little, and you can use your knife to accentuate. My problem is I always put it too high. We're gonna I'm using that small sharp flame to let gravity come down. And then also, we can just use a little tiny beep boop here. Kind of like when I make the dino head. Just pull a little bit. Let's make the other one. And my flame, again, it's really small. Okay. See how small it is? It's really, it's small but hot, sharp, hissing, oxygenating. Do another one right here on the side. They're gonna touch. That's okay, because if something touches by accident, use your knife. Have your knife or your straight edge or something handy to separate these pieces. You see how I'm holding it like that? That's actually very intentional to get it to shape. I'll use my little skinny rod here. Pull it down. Get a little nipply point. You can use a stringer if you need it to be even smaller. Yeah, oh yeah, that's, there we go. All right. Now let's do the arms. You okay? You guys with me? All right, amazing, amazing. I'm gonna. No, you're welcome. You're always welcome, Rena. You're always welcome.
Like have part of it maybe be a fault and like first sculpting first. Like it's always better to go back and grab the knife but make sure
So for my arms, I'm using, again, similar size to the leg, something proportionate, not too skinny. I can build up a little bit for the biceps. And actually first what I want to do is create the neck, because there's nothing here to get in the way. And the neck starts from the back. I'm like looking at my human references. And just give, and I'm like looking at you like, where's your neck? I'm like looking at me in the camera like, where's that? I can't see it. I don't ever want to assume I know where something is. I mean, learning to draw, learning to make art, especially learning to draw, is about learning to see. But even sculpting is about, if you're sculpting from life, it's about learning to see things. We think we know how something is put together, but not until we take it apart. Yeah, exactly, take it apart. A little to make that neck landing point. And now let's do our arms. Something hot shot people do that I actually am enjoying. If this arm's a little blobby to start, we're just gonna pinch it just a little. So you can block out your direction and give yourself a little taper. Oh, that looks kind of nice. It's so subtle you might not even be able to see it, but all those little details come through in the end. And think about, how do you want the arms to be positioned? What do you want the gesture to be? Hot seal it on, let it set up. On this side, this is the like two-part connection side that's slightly more detailed. We can see at the end, how does it play out for us? Is it worth it? And here, I'm gonna make that elbow, armpit, whatever. Just the elbow. I wanted to, it's the knee of the arm. It's the armpit of the crook of the arm.
Well, now this is the antecubital fossa.
That's what I'm looking for. The what fossa? Antecubital?
Antecubital.
Antecubital. It's like it's such a great word.
I like half the name.
What?
I like knee of the arm.
Knee of the arm, yeah.
Yeah. The back of the knee of the arm.
Back of the knee of the arm.
Analogize, exactly.
Wow.
The plantar fascia of the arm.
The fascia, that goes everywhere.
You have a little bit of PTSD with all of this medical.
I know, you're like,
I'm like, I left that behind.
like I left it for a reason. I didn't think we'd have to use these words in class.
Oh, yeah.
For the hand, I just make a little ball, make a little squish. If we want to make detailed bigger hands, absolutely we can. But when I'm trying to do it small, I just make a little mitten. So I make my little balls, flatten it a tiny bit, and then I use a little skinny stringer for the thumb. And that just, it evokes a hand. We're going to do the other arm in one part. Little thingies, yeah, if anyone wants to, I was thinking it would be fun to make a hand. Well, we're doing life forms in FNA 210, and someone's going to make a hand, I think, for that. So I'm like, I'm going to practice my hands. Exciting. Yeah.
Hands are hard to draw. I can't imagine how they beat a pulp. Yeah.
Like if you want them to look hyper realistic, that would be really hard.
Like squirrels in there. No. Squirrel has hands. Okay? No. No.
Get that seal going, nice and smooth, let it set up. And I'm just gonna pull this in one go. In fact, let's just get a little artistic with it. Why not? Woo! What happens if we... What does it mean? Alright, so just, you know, we got the human form and then deviating from the human form. Kind of fun. Was that? Oh, I don't know. Is he like a rubber band man?
Yeah.
It was almost a near perfect Rocky, but
Yeah, I was thinking Rocky. Yeah.
If Rocky was on LSD. No, if we were on LSD. I don't know.
Rocky on LSD.
Yeah. You start to dissociate so hard you don't know where reality ends and...
And the mushroom seed, was it regular
Okay. Now this is where creativity can come in. Oh, maybe it's a bird-headed person. Ooh, maybe it's a bee-headed person. I don't know. You know? Right? That's cute.
I would make him a bird brain.
Bird brain, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Brilliant. Oh, you said I took the thing off. I was like, it's so close. Oh, no. Here's what I want to do. Give him a little finger. There's our bust. Ah. There you go. The head I always make separately. Should I make a head, or do you guys want to see something on the head? Or should I leave it? I'll just make a quick head, in case you want to see how I would go about it. Goofy hat. Oh, fun. Let someone do a collab. If someone wants to make a hat for this guy, we can make it a collab. So the head I make separately, and we're going to gather up a ball. Now this is proportionally. If you study figure drawing, you'll learn about the proportions. And so traditionally, our height is about like stack 8 humans' heads, and that's about the proportion between the height and the size of the head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But my proportions are a little artistic, anyway, so I'm not going to stress too much. We're going to build up a ball. This is why I like to do it separately, because if you don't like it, you can always stick a new one. Take it off, rip it off, stick a new one on. We're going to flatten a little bit for that cranial mass. Just a little. Just a little. We're going to, yeah. Oh, you've got a great head for me to reference. Okay, so get a little skinny rod. It's so funny because like when I started demoing these, I would print out pictures of bald people because that's much easier to see, and then I would just make bald people forever, and I'm like, oh, I feel like there's a theme, an unintentional theme in my work. They're monks. It's about spirituality and human condition through a historical lens. We're gonna do a handle up here. Build on some mass. And honestly, I probably could spend some time sketching and workshopping my head shape. But you're gonna get the idea, yeah.
Are you gonna make just a smooth head, or are you gonna try and add features like a nose?
I'm gonna add some subtle kind of like suggestions of features. There's only so much.
On the figure or before?
Now,
it goes on?
before, yeah. And there's only so much you can really do at this scale. If I want to go crazy, you can go quite small, of course. So I'm gonna do the biggest things first. I'm gonna find my mandrel that I was using, kind of a thick mandrel, to make some eye. Thinner mandrel, to poke the eyes out. Kind of making like a skull. So I'm like blocking, it's very subtle, but it starts to show that. And then we'll just use a really skinny rod. I like to honestly use a stringer for the nose and the nostrils. Here's the stringer pulling on the fly. See how delicate? But in this context, this really helps to have control. And this is a moment where I would add. I'm adding rather than taking away. And this is just like that stringer drawing practice comes into play here. You swipe down, add a little ball, little nose, little schnoz. And I'm just using such a small flame because I don't want to let it ball up. And then I like to, for the nostrils, this is why I like the stringer. One little dot on either side. You can't see it, but it looks actually it looks cute. All right, let's get a mouth going, just a little ball. But you know, if you look at the proportions of the face, the mouth is like halfway down, right? We always, if we're drawing, we're not, it's common to draw the eyes like way too high up. So if you want realism, look at life. I make a little, just a little bit, and then I'm just gonna go in with my knife and make the mouth. It's subtle, but especially if I sandblast it, it'll actually, all the features will come out. So we're gonna attach this on. My neck's a little big. I'm gonna just pull that off a little bit. It looks good if I were to leave it like that as a bust. A headless person. And there's a whole, we can get into the art theory of what it means to represent the human body in art, especially the female form. You get me started, I've got to talk about it. We will talk about it. What does it mean to represent an ideal human form, or an idealized human form versus real life? With curves, what does it mean to represent a form that deviates from the ideal beauty standards? You know, when you're creating a human, not to scare you guys, but it is kind of, with art, there's a lot of potential for it to be kind of a political statement, meaning that there's things we can dig into, and it's rich for conversation. So I will just urge you to think about that, and we'll talk more about it. But if you want to make a human form out of glass, especially a female form, think about what you're doing. Are you perpetuating the sexy form that you see being used to sell us things, used on movie posters, used to historically, you know, women being the subject, or being the object and not the subject? Are you adding things that are unexpected? Are you creating like a Venus of Willendorf, where you have a lovely folds and round thing? So my poor little guy could use a little more of a chin, but it's actually kind of cute. And we'll give her a little. Woo! I forgot my microphone was on. Alright. Oh, she's like, oh. Okay, so there's my form, but again, a lot of the details get sort of glossed because we see the shininess, but if you sandblast it, the details will come out. There's my form, and you notice I haven't used an annealing flame for a while because I have been working with a heat gradient. I haven't been jumping around. I was working quite hot, and I kind of like, that's hot, and I'm working from there to there. And now I can use an annealing, a little bit of an annealing flame. I had a lot of fun making that. I hope that there's some good information there. Hopefully it wasn't too overwhelming. I also have like a step-by-step that's a little bit different, but I have a photocopy that I can show you guys. It's in my office, from a book. That's kind of nice. So I'll show it to the people at home. Oh, thank you, yeah. It's just like a pop socket, or whatever it's called. All right. I like to make them like little, like goblet stems. That's really fun. And then they can be like doing things, like gesturing to one another. All right. Any questions about, thoughts? Let's see how we're doing.